Welcome and thank you for joining us today. Today's session is focused on something very practical, what IT professionals actually need in the field. Not theory, not architecture diagrams, but real-world situations where systems need to be protected, recovered, or moved quickly and safely. We're going to look at how ActiveImage Protector IT Pro fits into that reality. Let's start with the situation most of you have experienced. You're handed a system. No documentation, no history, just a problem to solve. You don't know what's been installed, you don't know what's broken, and you don't know what might break next. And most importantly, you don't have time. You're expected to act immediately. Because if something goes wrong, you don't get a second chance. In that moment, the first thing you need is simple. You need a backup before you touch anything. Because if something fails, you need to be able to restore it quickly. And sometimes recovery isn't enough. You need to move a system to new hardware or a virtual environment. Or you need to figure out what went wrong without making things worse. Traditional tools assume you can install software, then configure jobs, and wait for backups to complete, all while hoping the system doesn't fail before you're ready. So let's change the model. What if you didn't have to install anything at all? What if you could walk up to a system and act immediately? What if every system, regardless of environment, looked the same to you? This is exactly what ActiveImage Protector IT Pro is designed to do. No installation required. It runs as a standalone executable or from bootable media, and it captures the entire system, OS, applications, and data in a single image. And importantly, it's licensed per technician, not per machine. Everything in IT Pro starts with one simple step: boot. Then capture the system. Then recover when needed, or migrate it somewhere else. The key idea is consistency. No matter the system, the workflow stays the same. Okay, so let's walk through a real-world scenario. A physical system begins to show signs of hardware failure. Maybe it's disk errors, maybe it's instability, but you know it's not going to last. The system is still online for now, which means you have a small window to act. And downtime is not acceptable. The system needs to stay available. So the goal becomes very clear. You need to move this system quickly and safely before it fails. Step 1. Capture the system immediately, before anything gets worse. And you don't want to install anything that might further destabilize it. You need everything: OS, applications, data, and configuration. And then restore it to a stable environment like a virtual machine. Let's walk through the process. Before we begin, this first step is normally done before there's ever a problem. An IT professional would typically prepare the IT Pro portable executable in advance and keep it ready in their toolkit. This is not something you want to create on a system that is already failing. You create it ahead of time on a healthy system, then keep it available when needed. That could be on a USB drive or even as part of an ISO or technician's toolkit. The key point is simple. You're not dependent on the failing machine. When something goes wrong, you're ready to act immediately. With that in mind, let's take a look at how that portable executable is created. Once the portable executable is ready, we take it to the system we need to protect. In this example, we are launching IT Pro directly from the USB device on the problem system. The important point here is that no installation is required. We're not deploying an agent. We're not making long-term changes to the system. We're simply running a portable executable to capture the machine. In this demonstration, we'll be backing up directly into the Hyper-V host. From IT Pro, we choose the virtualization option. As we go through the wizard, you'll see several options that would normally be configured based on your own environment. These settings may depend on the Hyper-V host you're targeting, the storage location you want to use, the type of system you're protecting, and any internal requirements your organization has for recovery. For this demonstration, we are intentionally keeping things simple and using mostly the default settings. The goal is not to turn this part into a detailed product training session or explain every field in the wizard. The goal is to show the overall workflow. We are running IT Pro directly from the USB device, selecting virtualization, connecting to the Hyper-V environment over the network, and allowing IT Pro to create the virtual machine during the backup process. In a production environment, you would review these options more carefully and adjust them as needed. Our documentation goes into much greater detail on each setting and feature. Now we start the backup to the Hyper-V host. This is the important difference in this workflow. We're not creating a backup image first and then performing a separate restore later. The IT Pro is using the virtualization option to move the system directly into the Hyper-V environment. This can save valuable time when you're dealing with unstable hardware, an aging workstation, or a system that needs to be preserved quickly before the situation gets worse. The physical machine is captured, and the virtual machine is created during the same process. In this demo, the destination is a Hyper-V host on the network, but the basic idea is the same. We're turning a physical system into a usable virtual machine without going through a separate recovery step. For IT professionals, this can be a very practical option. You can protect the system, move it off the original hardware, and make it available again from the Hyper-V environment. Once the process is complete, we can switch over to the Hyper-V host. Here we can verify that the virtual machine has been created and is ready to start. At this point, the system is available as a Hyper-V virtual machine. There is no separate restore step to demonstrate because the backup was written directly into the Hyper-V environment. This is the key value of this workflow. A technician can quickly migrate from a physical system to a working virtual machine using a portable executable and a network connection to the Hyper-V host. As you can see, the system is back in service. Now let's step back for a moment. In that entire process, we never rebuilt the system. No operating system installation, no reinstalling applications, no reconfiguration. Everything came back as is. This directly impacts recovery time. We're talking minutes instead of hours. And just as important, it reduces risk. Fewer steps mean fewer opportunities for something to go wrong. And this is where things really matter operationally. The process stays the same, whether it's a physical system, a virtual system, or a completely different hardware. The workflow doesn't change. This is especially important for MSPs. You're dealing with multiple environments, different hardware, different platforms, but one consistent tool, and one technician license that works across all of them. This wasn't a one-time scenario. This is something you can repeat over and over again, because when you capture a system, you're capturing everything, not just files, the entire system state. Storage usage is optimized. Duplicate data is eliminated as the backup is created, and data is compressed simultaneously without slowing down the backup process. Another key point of this, you're not tied to the original hardware. The system handles the drivers needed for the new environment. This allows the system to boot successfully after being restored. And just as important, you're not tied to one platform. Physical and virtual machines become interchangeable. Moving between platforms becomes straightforward because the recovery model stays the same everywhere. What we just walked through, that's not a niche situation. This happens every day in real environments. From an MSP perspective, this is part of daily operations. Every client environment is different. Different hardware, different configurations, but the need for consistency never changes. Another common MSP scenario, maintenance windows. Before making any change, you take a full image. If something goes wrong, you roll back immediately. And then there's emergency response. A system fails, or it is about to. You capture what you can and recover as quickly as possible. In enterprise environments, this shows up in different ways. For example, migration projects, moving from physical systems to virtual environments, or hardware refresh cycles where systems need to move to new infrastructure. Another major area is disaster recovery. When something goes down, you don't rebuild, you restore, and that directly reduces business impact. There is also a less obvious use case, investigation. Capturing a system in its current state for analysis or troubleshooting, preserving a point-in-time snapshot before making changes. And when you step back, MSPs and enterprises' needs start to look very similar. The scale is different, but the challenges are the same. Speed, safety, consistency. And that's exactly what IT Pro delivers. Let's close with a few key takeaways. This session wasn't about features, it was about real-world IT work. Systems fail, they change, and they need to move. And when that happens, you need to act quickly. Backup alone is not enough. Recovery is what actually matters, and speed and reliability are critical when it counts. Consistency reduces risk. The same process across every environment, fewer tools, fewer mistakes. ActiveImage Protector IT Pro is built for the technician. It works across any system, physical or virtual. No installation required. It's ready when you need it. If you're responsible for systems, this should be in your toolkit. Use it before your next maintenance window, before your next migration. Be ready before something fails. Thank you for your time today. I'm happy to take questions.